Hari Om. Good morning, students. Welcome back to our social science class. I hope all of you are safe and comfortable at home. Without my insistence, you know how to practice these days. It is a very crucial period, so should take proper care. Wash your hands frequently with the soap or soap solution. And if necessary, wear mask if you go outside unless unavoidable conditions. So you know how to practice all these things. Okay, so never forget to practice all these things. Okay, last class we have discussed about the three sectors of the economy. Which are the three sectors of the economy? Abhiram, can you tell me which are the three sectors of the economy? Primary sector, secondary sector and tertiary sector. Primary sector includes agricultural activities. Secondary sector is the industrial sector and tertiary sector is the service sector of the society, which is very helpful for the primary and secondary sector. All these three sectors are related with each other. So in this topic we will discuss about the growing importance of the tertiary sector or the service sector. Why the tertiary sector is very important nowadays. Or we can see a advanced growth in the tertiary sector compared with other sectors of the economy. What are the reasons for this? We can analyze the reasons for the importance of the tertiary sector. The first important factor is increase in population led to increased demand for services. We know our population is continuously growing. As per the population growth, we have more facilities are required, more hospitals are required, more transportation is required, more education institutions are required, more shops are required, more schools are required. Like this way, all aspects we can see an increased demand for a service sector. So, population growth led to an increased demand for more services. So, there is an increase in the more service sector like education, health, banking, transportation, all sectors we require more increased demand for services. Then second factor is development of primary and secondary sector. We have seen that under Green Revolution we are practicing modern methods of agriculture, where we use more implements are used, pesticides are used, chemicals are used, fertilizers are used, modern irrigation systems are planned. So here there is an increased demand for more services from the part of primary and secondary sector. Secondary sector are producing this. It should be transported to the primary sector. From the primary sector, raw materials to be transported to the secondary sector. They both require more service from the part of banks in the form of loan, insurance like crop insurance or accident insurance or personal accident insurance in the from the insurance companies. So more factories are required for producing chemicals, fertilizers, implements, etc. So increase in the primary and secondary sector led to a growth in the tertiary sector also. Then the third factor is increased income level of the people. Compared with the previous years, more people are now working under the secondary sector of the economy or tertiary sector of the economy. So naturally other needs of the people like entertainment, enjoyment by the people in hotels, restaurants, tourism, all these are part of the service sector which have increased compared with the previous years. Then the fourth factor is emergence of new services. That is information technology and communication is also part of the service sector which have increased on a large scale. Because of these increased services, we have increased demand for these factors. As you are applying your online payments or online ordering, all these are based on technology and communication aspects. So there is an increased demand for these products as emergence of new services have helped us to achieve a lot of things without going to some place or taking products or purchasing products. We can be at home itself and purchase the things, or we can make the payments. All these help us to do by the increased service sector like telecommunication and transportation system. So this is also one factor for increased growth in the tertiary sector. So there are four aspects I told. Increase in population led to increased demand for goods and services, development of primary and secondary sector, and increased income level of people is also one of the factor for this growth of the service sector, then emergence of industries. Now we know majority of our people are depending on the primary sector for their existence. So India is primarily an agrarian country, but one visible factor we can see by over dependency of people in agricultural sector is called underemployment in agricultural sector. What do you mean by underemployment? For example, if a person is totally unemployed, he has not at all able to find out any work and he cannot support his family, it is called unemployment. Totally unemployed, no work at all, he cannot support his family, is called an unemployment condition. And if more persons are working than required number, suppose 5 persons are only required for cultivating 1 hectare of land, but there are 10 persons employed in that sector, the other 5 persons are actually excess workers there. Their work will not increase the productivity or will not contribute to the productivity. So actually they are not required. So they are underemployed. Or when we watch, they are doing work but their work is not increasing the productivity. This is called disguised unemployment. We cannot identify them as unemployed, but their effort, their work is not contributing towards the economic development or not increasing the productivity. This is called disguised unemployment. So in the agricultural sector, we can see a major feature as a disguised unemployment due to the over dependency of people in the agricultural sector. So as under modern farming system, we require less people or human resource than the previous years. Now more machines are there. In developing nations are all, or developed nations are all cultivating based on completely mechanized farming. So we require less number of people in the productive sector like agriculture. We can divert our human resource into secondary and tertiary sectors of the economy by making human resource skillful persons. So that is why we have to invest more in human resource. Nowadays all the nations are doing more development of human resource so that they can utilize this manpower for the secondary and tertiary sectors of the economy, thereby reduce the dependency of people on the primary sector. So this is called disguised unemployment, where we cannot identify the people as unemployed but their effort does not contribute towards economic development or productivity. Okay, discussing about the unemployment in agricultural sector or primary sector, which is hidden unemployment, hidden unemployment, that we call as disguised unemployment. The same condition can be seen in urban areas or among the casual laborers in the urban areas. Urban areas, you know which is urban areas. It is cities and towns. Their agricultural sector is less. So it is clearly visible in the agricultural sector, the unemployment, which we call it as hidden employment or disguised unemployment. The same condition can be seen in the rural areas not only but in the urban areas also. That is called casual laborers. Who is casual laborer? One who works for daily wages. So among the casual laborers also this condition can be seen. in the villages, means those who are working in the construction sites, those who are working as porters, those who are working as building construction site workers, or road workers. There are many people who are working for daily wages, cleaning the ground and all. They are all working for daily wages. So if they have no work for one day, they have no income. And always they will not get the work because of many problems. They are not able to work regularly. So they are affected by the poor income and thereby the consequent problems what they have to face because of the poor income facilities. So this is a problem what is faced by the people not only in the rural areas but in the urban areas also we can see the same problem. Then what are the ways we can adopt to increase the employment in these sectors? What can we do? For example, in the agricultural sector, what all steps can be taken for the improvement of productivity? What are the steps we can take? First of all, the farmers are mainly depending on monsoon for rain. So, by improving the irrigation facilities, we can encourage them to cultivate according to the availability of water twice or thrice in a year. So this will help them to have more productivity and thereby more income for the farmers. Then transportation facilities can be improved. Storage facilities can be improved. For all these things we require money. So first of all, a major problem faced by the villages are lack of fund for the people. This can be provided by arranging loan facilities from the part of the bank or improving the credit system from the part of the bank, because they are mainly depending on the money lenders in the villages. These money lenders are always charging high rate of interest which is not affordable for these people. So what we can do is to improve the condition of the villages, is to increase the credit facilities of the villages so that we can have a better income for the farmers by improving the irrigation facilities and transportation facilities and storage facilities. Because sometimes there is surplus produce is there, but at a time they are not able to sell all these products. So they have to store. They may not have a storing facility. So if through the cooperative systems the government can provide them storage facilities, it will help the farmers in preserving their grains and thereby they can sell the product when there is scarcity of the product is there, or when there is off seasons are coming, then they can sell this product. That is a great advantage for the people in the villages. Then another major step we can take in semi-rural areas, not rural areas and not urban areas. Semi-rural areas are there. In these places we can improve the industries. What type of industries can be? In our old villages there were small scale industries were there. When the off seasons they used it to produce these small scale industries like basket making, jaggery making, curry powder making, weaving of clothes, pottery making. All these they were practicing in their ancient villages. They used it to make many small scale industries are practiced by the people. This provided them an additional income, not only an additional income but in their off seasons, or they are mainly depending on agricultural sector. So in their off seasons they were supported by an income also. So this can be improved once again, or this can be promoted once again, or this can be taken initiative from the part of the government to encourage the people to practice this so that they can have better income. And there are some crops like onion or vegetables which can be stored for some period. So if we are promoting cold storages in the villages, or meat or egg, whatever we can keep it in cold storages. This will provide employment opportunities to the people, and they can at a time have better price also for their products, and the products can be stored also. So these kind of systems can be encouraged in the villages and semi-rural areas, so that they can have an additional income for the farmers. Then processing of vegetable units. For example, when mangoes are on large scale, what we can make from the mangoes? What all things we can make from the mangoes? Rihanna, can you tell me what are the things we can make from the mangoes? We can make fruit juice, we can make, isn't it? We can make jam. So we can dry the mangoes and we can use it in the off seasons. Like this way, different products can be made from the mangoes, like oranges, pineapples, bananas, whatever may be available according to the seasonal availability. We can preserve these into different forms, and thereby we can use it in another form when it is not available. So these type of works are, if encouraged among the farmers, they can have better income in their off seasons, and this will also provide them employment opportunities also. So this is a very good thing, that encouragement of small scale industries among the villages or semi-rural areas, where in the off seasons people can have a better income and better facilities are there. Then if the villages are located near the forest areas, collection of the forest articles like honey, honeybee hiving, this honeybees growing and collecting honey is a major occupation of the people. So they can practice this honey collection, or medicinal plants can be collected and given to the Ayurvedic medicinal centers, or preparing the homemade medicines. Like this way, lot of cane collection. Like this way, large number of things are there which can be promoted among the farmers, so that they can have better income in the off seasons. Then improvement in educational institutions is a major step what we can take. The majority of the people in the villages are not at all attending the sessions. A major portion, that is 5 to 21 years of age group, 50% of the population are only attending schools. The others are not attending schools. So we can encourage maximum education among the people, so that we can have more schools, more facilities, which will increase employment opportunities also, and will make the people skilled and educated also. Now, among the unskilled people or casual laborers, this will provide them employment opportunities when more buildings are constructed, more roads are constructed. At that same time, children are promoted with education facilities, so that they can have a better education, better skill development, and better training in various sectors, and this will improve them in their future employment opportunities. So one sector where we can give maximum encouragement to the people is in the educational sector, where we can make them more educated, and thereby we can have better opportunity for the children. Okay. Then other important sectors are tourism. Our country has many tourist places are there. So we can promote tourism, we can attract tourists. There are different types of tourists are there. Those who are coming for study as part of academic section, people are coming to our country. For treatment, medical tourism, people are coming to our country. For visiting places, people are coming to our country. So we can promote maximum tourism among the people, so that we can have many job opportunities can be provided in this sector. For people traveling, this vehicle transportation system, we have improvement. Then selling of our handicraft items, shops we can start near the tourist places, and tourists are interested in purchasing that. Our cotton silk industry are getting encouragement from the part of the tourists. Then our natural medicines, spices, tea, coffee, beverage crops are also promoted under tourism sector. Like this way, we can generate a lot of employment in all these sectors where people can have an employment opportunities rather than being unemployed or underemployed in the primary sector, and thereby we can reduce the over dependency of people in the primary sector. Then improvement in regional craft industries. A lot of people are there who are efficient in craft industry. So we can give more training to that people, or we can start many training centers where people can be given more training programs under craft industry. This also will help people to generate employment opportunities. Then the latest technologies, IT technology. There also we can start more providing more skill for the people, and this will help the people to have a better income and better job opportunities. But all these what I explained will take long time to be implemented. We know, because government has to take initiative to start all these programs, and there we require investment is required, and if this is in the long run only possible to implement all these sectors, as not an easy task for us. So all of a sudden what we can do to reduce the unemployment or underemployment what we are facing in modern times, that is carried out by under Mahatma Gandhi's long vision, NREGA, National Rural Employment Guarantee Act. Last year you have studied in food security, that chapter you have studied different schemes introduced by the government for ensuring food security. In that one scheme is NREGA, National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, or what you are calling as Tholilurappu Paddhati. You know, all of you know this. So there is a leader is there, 25 to 30 members are there, their regular attendance is marked, they are provided with 100 days assured employment, and the employment allowance will be coming to the bank account of these people. That is the system introduced by the central government for assuring or under people's right to work, to provide 100 days assured employment to the people. If they failed to provide employment opportunities to the people, they will be provided with the unemployment allowance. If the government is failing to provide employment opportunity to the people, the government is providing unemployment allowance to these people. Okay, so these are all various schemes. This already you have studied last year. These are all various schemes what we can introduce for the implementation of generation of employment opportunities, and thereby reduce the unemployment among the primary sector and in the urban areas among the casual laborers. So we have to improve the secondary and tertiary sector activities where we can reduce the over dependency of employment in the primary sector, and thereby we can provide employment opportunities to the people. So I hope it is clear for you this lesson. We have analyzed various factors. Now I will send the notes through the Google Classroom. By the time, stay safe at home. Follow the instructions. We will meet in the next session. Thank you all.